Ghana is your Nigerian Girl Pleasure, bringing you political news in our channel Akroma TV. So many assertions has gone wrong after Sam George came out to declare Dr. Bawumia a religious prostitute. Yeah, because according to him, he said about Dr. Bawumia was using religious to campaign for the election. That's the primary election that has been done. But people have called him to come and apologize, and he should do the needful very, very urgently. Please wait.
Hello, Sam George, Jata George. That's how he calls himself. Sam Jata George. He's a lion. He's a Jata. Yeah. He says something that is quite serious, and we'll be looking at it. Now, he's saying something that demonstrates a clear religious intolerance, which is very dangerous for our politics. Very, very dangerous for our politics. I think that our politics should come to a certain level, and I was concerned that President Mahama, of all people, our former president, is campaigning on the basis of tribal connotations. We should try and stop that if we can. We should stop that. Let's say that Bawumia says John Mahama is incompetent. That's okay. John Mahama can say Bawumia is incompetent. But in our political conversations and our political campaigning, let's not say somebody is short, so he can't be president. Somebody is tall, so he can't be president. Somebody is Akan, so he can't be president. Somebody is Muslim, so he can't be president. Somebody is a woman, so he can't be president. Somebody is disabled, so he can't be president. Why do we do this? And it is the desperation of politicians when they get to the cul-de-sac. When the politicians get to the cul-de-sac of their own narrative, that's when they start clutching a straw, and then they say some of these unsayable things, unwholesome, totally unwholesome. Sam George says that Alhaji Muhammadu Bawumia here is not a Muslim. He's a Muslim by day. I'll show you the video, by the way. Don't worry, it's coming. He's a Muslim by day and he's a Christian by night. So he's a religious prostitute, and he should not be elected as president because no Muslim will go to a church and have his hands laid on by the pastor. What is this? Islamic scholars are telling us something. I'm going to call one of the Muslim people to explain to us what Prophet Muhammad, the message Prophet Muhammad gave about this. But for us Christians, Sam George, we're supposed to be tolerant. It was tolerant that Jesus Christ was teaching us that led him to Zacchaeus' house. And Jesus' apostles, Sam George knows that. Jesus' apostles were concerned that Jesus was going to the house of Zacchaeus. And Jesus told Zacchaeus that Zacchaeus, come down from the sycamore tree because today I'll dine in your house. And Peter was not happy. But Jesus Christ was teaching us religious tolerance. Beyond religious tolerance, why should religion be used as a tool of campaign by Sam George and Fifi Kwete and John Mahama to use religion and tribe to campaign against Alhaji Muhammadu Bawumia? Now that he's been elected, Sam George is using religion to campaign against him. That is he a Muslim or is a Christian? If he's a Muslim, he should be a Muslim and leave us Christians alone, because they know that Ghana has a majority Christian population. But it is to the credit of Ghanaians that having a majority Christian population, they were able to elect a Muslim, not because they saw him as a Muslim, but they saw him as a Ghanaian who gave them his program for the election, which program they bought into, and they voted for him. That's the story that we want to tell about Ghana's democracy. We don't want a story about Ghana's democracy that says that Ghana's democracy is chauvinistic, or that it has a religious bias, or that it is. Nigeria has majority Muslim population in Nigeria. Many of Nigerian presidents have been Muslim. In fact, almost all of them. In 1999, Chief Obasanjo, who is a Christian, tongue-talking, charismatic Christian, mounted the stage to be Nigeria's president. Some of these noises were made, I beg to say very ugly noises, were made in Nigeria. That how do you elect Chief Obasanjo, who is a Christian, to come to Nigeria, which is 70% Muslim? It will not be allowed. It will not be this. It will not be that. Obasanjo said, look at me. Don't look at my religion. Look at me. Look at what I am offering Nigeria. And Obasanjo nearly won a third term. Nigerian majority Muslim in 1999 elected Chief Obasanjo, a Christian, to be the president of Nigeria. Later on, Nigerians again elected Goodluck Jonathan, a Christian, 70% Muslim. They elected Goodluck Jonathan, a Christian. That's the spirit of democracy. Why should people set out to campaign that Dr. Bawumia is a Muslim, so he cannot be president? They started by saying that Dr. Bawumia will never be elected by the MPP. Fifi Kwete said it. John Mahama said it. Today, they've seen before their very eyes the possibility that Dr. Bawumia talks about. That possibility has happened. Bawumia said it is possible. I'm going to achieve this thing. No Nanakan has been elected to the biggest political party in Ghana. Dr. Bawumia, I will achieve it. I will achieve it with the support of the people, with the support of the young people. And across 275 constituencies, Dr. Bawumia was elected by 60%. The MPP has truly demonstrated that they do not look at individuals with prejudice. Sam George must retract this thing, and the Muslim community, Sheikh Arimiya, if you are listening to me, did you hear what Sam George said about Muslims? Sheikh Arimiya and the Muslim community, have you heard it? Sam George should be retracting and apologizing. I do not believe that Reverend Ajanasari is with this situation. I don't even think that Sam George himself is with it. Maybe he just spoke out of 10. I know him. He probably spoke out of 10. And he must come around. I mean, the other day we talked about Sosu, didn't we? And I said here that Sosu spoke out of character. The next morning, he apologized, didn't he? Sosu apologized and actually used the words that we had used on Good Evening Ghana. He said, I spoke out of character. Sam George, I think you spoke out of 10. And you must say something about this. Because we need people like Sam George in the political campaign of 2024. We need the energy that the Ningo Pampam MP brings to it. We need that energy. He's a young man. You know, I support young people, whether they're NDC or MPP, I support them. You know, so I support Sam George. And he has the energy. I think he spoke out of 10. But what he said is terrible. It is very, very, very bad. I'm going to expose it tonight to show you how bad it is. And I hope that by tomorrow, just as Sosu did, he will come and retract the statement that I spoke out of 10. We don't campaign with religious prejudices. When I said Dr. Bawumia is a religious prostitute, I'm sorry, I didn't use the right words. Because he was very confident on Good Morning Ghana. Dr. Bawumia is a religious prostitute and he goes to church and no Muslim will go for them to let. I'll show you a photograph today. Chief Imam, Sharabutu, His Holiness, Sheikh Sharabutu, His Holiness. He was in the Catholic Church and the hands were laid on him. I'll show you the photograph. So then what does Sam George say? I'll show you the photograph. Pope. He went to a Muslim place in Turkey. He entered a mosque. That's religious tolerance. Why should we run politics and say, don't vote for candidate X because he's a Muslim? Oh, this is so sad. Ghana's democracy cannot be affected in this way. Ghana's democracy must be given an impetus of positivity. Not these kinds of comments. They draw us back. As for the Fifi Kwete one, it's just laughable. I mean, he said, Dr. Bawumia is dreaming. Fifi Kwete didn't talk about religious prejudice. He said that MPP that he knows, they will never elect Dr. Bawumia. John Mahama, former president, said MPP that he knows, they will never elect Dr. Bawumia. Somehow, both Fifi Kwete and John Mahama, they may have been right. And that's why Dr. Bawumia recognized the difficulty of the task, the enormity of the task that confronted Dr. Bawumia was significant. That he comes up as a nobody, quote and unquote, in terms of politics. He comes up in 2008. He's coming from Wale Wale. His father was a chairman of the NDC. That makes it even worse. Dr. Bawumia's father was a chairman of the NDC's Council of State. Alhaji Mumuni Bawumia. He was chairman of NDC Council of State. I've showed you that video before. So Dr. Bawumia is coming up. 1 year Northern, 2 year Mamprusi, 3 year Muslim, 4 year. Father was NDC. And he said it is possible. I love Dr. Bawumia for that. I just love him for that. Dr. Bawumia's situation was like the famous Bible story, Elijah and the Baal gods. I don't know whether you know it. But they put the sacrifice there for one sacrifice here, another sacrifice here. And they said they were going to have a competition of which god can call fire. So the Baal gods prayed. The fire didn't come. It got to the turn of Elijah. Elijah said, before I pray, make it worse. Pour water on it. Make it worse. So they poured water on it. Elijah didn't have to say much. He raised his hands and said, Father, ow, bam, the fire came. That was Dr. Bawumia's situation. Then after the possibility, Sam George comes and says, hey, This guy, he's not a Muslim, he's not a Christian. I mean, I don't even understand it. Okay, this is what he said. Bawumia is a religious prostitute. He cannot be our president. I can't believe that. I am just shocked at these things. What is this? Sam George spoke out of 10. That is not how he is. I know Sam George. This is not how he is. He spoke out of 10. I told you the other day, I know Javier Sosu. This is not how he is. He spoke uncharacteristically. He spoke out of character. Javier Sosu came and said, please, I beg you people, I spoke out of character, because he did. Sam George has spoken out of 10. This is not Sam George. But that's what he said. Bawumia is a religious prostitute. He cannot be our president. Sam George. Oh my goodness. What is a religious prostitute? That he's a Muslim by day and a Christian by night. So a Muslim who embraces Christians, or a Christian who embraces Muslims, is such a religious prostitute that he should not be elected president. That when you want to elect president, look for religious purity. You want to elect a president, you are looking for prejudice, religion, tribe, gender. No, competence. What has he said before? What has he done before? What is he saying he will come and do? These are the points on which we evaluate people who are running for president, and we decide whether we make them president or not. Look at Sam George's video. Have a look at the video. See what he said.
No true Muslim kneels before a Catholic priest or a pastor to lay hands on them.
Okay.
Bawumia is not his. Look, the best you can describe him is he's a Muslim by day, a Christian by night. A religious prostitute cannot be our president.
All right.
Chief Imam is not a good Muslim. Put a photograph on, please. Put a photograph on the TV. That's the Chief Imam. The glorious Father Campbell has his right hands laid on the forehead of the Chief Imam, almost like an impartation. Sheikh Arimi is in the photograph. And Sheikh Arimi, I'm talking to you tonight. You should address these matters. We cannot allow politicians to carry out these religious prejudices into election 2024. We cannot allow that. So this is Chief Imam here in the green, and Father Campbell is laying hands on the Chief Imam. So what is Sam George talking about? You see, the desperation of 2024 has to be checked. And I said here the other day when we were talking about women, that all those politicians in 2024 who come and have gender prejudices against women, we're going to name them and shame them. We didn't know that we're going to be confronted with an even more complicated matter. What is the more complicated matter? The more complicated matter is the opponents of Dr. Bawumia now suggesting that he's a Muslim who has gone to a church. So he's a religious prostitute. Don't vote for him as a president, because Muslims shouldn't go to church and churches shouldn't go to Islam, and church and Islam are opposite, and they shouldn't have anything to do when we are building a society together. Yes, Ghana is majority Christian. There's no question about that. Nigeria is majority Muslim. They elected Chief Obasanjo to be their president. He's a tongue-talking Christian. He's speaking tongues every day, Obasanjo. He's visiting Archbishop Duncan Williams, and they are praying together. But he was elected by the Nigerian country, which has 70% Muslim. Goodluck Jonathan was elected by Nigeria, which has 70% Muslim. What is the point? What is the problem? The United States of America, they elected a black man whose father is Kenyan, Barack Obama, to be president of the United States of America. It is the advancement of democracy that brings these things. Why does Sam George want to deny Ghana the advancement of democracy, the democratic dividend, the democratic ethos, the democratic ethics that every country is preaching? England, the Church of England, they have elected a Hindu as a prime minister. It is the advancement of democracy. Hasn't Sam George seen it? Why is the NBC forcing us to be backward in democracy? You can criticize Dr. Bawumia. You can challenge Dr. Bawumia. Challenge him on the strength, his competence, what he's saying, what he said, what he didn't say. These days they play videos of what Bawumia said then and what's happening now. That's okay. That's a good way to campaign against him. It's a fair way to campaign against him. But you cannot say that because he's Muslim, we should not elect him to be president, or because he's a Muslim that goes to church. Where else should he go? He's vice president of Ghana. As a Muslim vice president, he should ignore Christians. He shouldn't tell Christians that even though I'm Muslim, I recognize that you Christians are with us. I was born a Muslim. My father is Mumuni Bawumia. I couldn't have done anything about it, so I'm Muslim. But I used to go to Methodist church in the beginning. My mother took me to Methodist church because my mother was Christian. But as I grew up and I lived with my father, I became a Muslim. That's what Bawumia says. And that is terrible. That's so bad. That's something that nobody can understand. Please. Let's not do that. I think Bawumia has broken the hearts of many people who were hoping that he will not be able to win. Now, this is important. This is a news item that I'd like to read. It's Pope prays during visits to Istanbul mosques. Pope Benedict prayed alongside Islamic cleric in one of Turkey's most famous mosques Thursday in a dramatic gesture of outreach to Muslims after outrage from the pontiff's remarks linking violence and the teachings of the Prophet Muhammad. Pope had said something. The Muslims were not happy. He said, no problem, I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. So he went into the mosque. And Sam George is telling us that, yeah, is that not beautiful, viewers? Can you put this photograph on for viewers to see? Is that not beautiful? Look at, in the middle there is Father Campbell, the famous and holy Father Campbell. And with Chief Imam, look at behind them, what is there? The cross of Jesus Christ. This is religious tolerance, and this is what Ghana needs to look like to become a developed country. If America was able to elect Barack Obama, whose father is Kenyan, to be the president of the free world, the president of the most powerful country. I love this picture. My producer told me this was going to be a great picture to end the conversation. I love this picture. Can you put that picture? Yeah, it's there. So that is Chief Imam on your left in blue, in green, and he's enjoying an embrace from Archbishop Palmer Buckle, one of also the very, very, very famous men of religion, Archbishop Palmer Buckle. Well, I've been told not to say beyond that because it's past 10 and 17 minutes more. We have the running mate story coming up. We also do have a commercial break coming up. Sam George, I beg you, you are my man. You know that you are my man. Tomorrow, please, you spoke out of 10. I know you didn't mean that. I know Reverend Ajinasari doesn't think like that. I know that your church doesn't think like that. I know that as an elder of the church, you are committed to religious tolerance. Please, can you come and say something so that we can move on in 2024's campaign? Good luck to you in Ngo Pram Pram. But can you come and say something? We don't want other people to pick this thing up and we're going to have religious prejudices for this campaign. We don't want that. And if that happens, we're going to crash it with all the force that we have. So please, tomorrow, I beg you.
What's wrong? Please do well to like, comment, follow. Put on the notification bell so you get all our updates on my follow. Thanks, my people. I'll be back.